And welcome back to Tech Tuesday. Okay, so this is the old dog's new trick episode. So I've been doing this for a while, and if you guys have kept up with me, you know I use a lot of these photocopied cutout stencils that I do. And what happens here with them is I'll use them to just, in this case, I'm doing the background here. So I'll use this to kind of block everything off that I don't want paint on. It's nicer for me to do this instead of using an adhesive mask. Just it gives it a more, I don't know, the edges come out a lot nicer. You don't have that super like crazy hard edge you get from adhesive masks. So I really like this process. And plus for the small stuff, it really works well too. It's easier to kind of manipulate the paper and get it all to work. But there is some things that go on with this. First thing, when you have all these little tiny cutouts, like at the top of this thing right here, the air will blow this up. Well, while you're working on it, it'll just kind of pull it up while you're working. And that's a problem because the paint will get behind there and kind of not give you kind of a crisp edge that you're looking for. So what I do in a lot of instances, I use these magnets here. And these are neodymium magnets. I've done a Tech Tuesday on them, and I just kind of put them in their place, and that holds the template down while I'm working. Now there's an issue though. So these magnets, you can't, for instance, like I couldn't get a small magnet in there on this little piece next to this big magnet because they will just stick to one another. It's more attraction to each other than they are to the board underneath. So I learned an amazing trick from Duane Marshall, and this is what he had said he did, and I started using it, and it's amazing. So let's take a look at it. So I'll move this painting because we don't need that. We also don't need to get a bunch of black paint on that too. But we'll use this template as an example. Show you what I mean. So I've got the big magnet, I kind of drop it there, but this little bit up here, actually I'll move this in the middle so it's a little easier to see. This little bit up here is just kind of floating by itself. And again, if I drop a magnet there, it's just going to snap over. So the problem is as I'm airbrushing, it'll come up. It'll just kind of, the air will get underneath it and pull it up. So what I do a lot of times is I'll have a little meat skewer here, and I'll use that to hold it down as I spray. And that works. But sometimes I need this hand to do other things, or I need to hold another bit down, so I need one more hand. So this is where the tip from Duane Marshall comes in. So you can get this is just a piece of polystyrene. It's plastic, it's fairly thick, and I'll put a link to one of the companies that I use for this stuff. You can get it at a hobby store or an art store. It's just a fairly thick piece of plastic. This is the stuff they use for model building, but you could use any heavier plastic that you have, as long as it's really flat. And then what I do, or what was taught to me, is I cut out little shapes, like this little triangle right here. Now with this shape, check this out. All you do is put the point of the shape where you want it to hold down, and then put the magnet there. And that's it. It holds it down. I'll move it and I'll show you on a clean spot. So you kind of line that little point up, and you can cut these shapes in whatever shape you need. This cuts with a regular X-Acto knife, so you can kind of cut curves with it. You can do anything, really. And so I have a whole little cup full of these different shapes. You put the magnet on there to kind of hold down the bit that you want to hold down. And now you have another hand. And it holds it down without having it flop up. So really crazy easy tip, but man, it solved a lot of problems that come up with these little templates. And that is as sharp as using a regular adhesive mask. So it's just a great tip. And these things, obviously, they're totally, you don't throw them out. You just cut all the shapes you want. I have a little box of them, a little cup full of them. And as I need new shapes, I just cut them out. And when I'm done, I throw it in the bin. The other thing this will really help with too, let me show you this. Grab the right one. So this is Scott McKay's Pocket Graphics, the Shatter template. It's got all these really neat spikes on it. The same thing with using this though. So say I wanted to do this, but I needed to spray somewhere else, I need to use a magnet on that. Again, I can't get the magnet in there, but if I put the piece of styrene on top of this, as I drop it everywhere, let's try that again. As I put the piece of styrene on top of this spike, and I can put the magnet down here, and that doubles the strength of that little spike right there. So now when I spray that, while all the other ones are kind of flopping around, that one stays right where it should. It is the neatest trick. And there you go. Pretty cool, huh? So that's it. So it's just a little thick piece of styrene, cut it any way you want, and you're off to the races with your magnets. All right. So thank you, Duane. That was an amazing tip. I really love it. If you enjoyed this, please consider liking and subscribing. And this is Steve Leahy for Tech Tuesday, and I will catch you guys next time. Thanks a lot.